Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? So for today I wanted to do something a little bit different. As I'm sure you know, the building system in Fallout 76 is primarily focused on its ability to move whatever you build. And I wanted to come up today with a couple of builds that are much easier to move than might otherwise be the case, because although you can theoretically blueprint and move anything, the larger and more complexly you build, the more difficult that becomes. So we're going to have a look at a couple of simple examples of easy builds that can be moved very, very easily, which are very practical if you want to continue exploring and take your camp with you. For those of you who are like me, getting more out of the actual act of building than the function of having a base, I can see why you might be happier just to rebuild each time you move your camp, but it is kind of practical to have something that you can just set down quickly and carry on when you're exploring, which one does an awful amount of when the game is as big as this one is. So this build, as you can see already, is dead simple, not particularly attractive, but there we go. One of the key points about making your camp as movable as possible is to have as small a footprint as possible, and you won't get much smaller than this one. So we'll have a quick look around now. I've built this thing very, very quickly already. Basically, as you can see, it is a single foundation piece, which we have to start off with, and a little staircase so we can get up there. A couple of turrets to fend off anybody who might attack your camp, and the punji board there at the bottom won't hurt you because you built it, or me in this case, but it will keep any melee enemies from running straight up the stairs and attacking you, or smashing your base up. Interestingly enough, foundations are also indestructible, so you don't need to worry about that getting broken either. So with the exception of being shot at, that's albeit simple and not very attractive, but a very, very effective way of building a camp. You can put whatever you like up there, nice and easy, and it does the job. So this one is a similar principle, but a little bit more advanced. Still not the prettiest thing around, but it's another alternative. This time, as you can see, we're on 4 foundation pieces for the base, so it gets slightly harder to move. Sometimes if you get a steeply angled bit of ground, it might be a little bit more difficult to put down. Here we're just going to swap this wall out. You see, we just select it and choose a different piece at no extra cost. Turn it around. There we go. A useful technique if you want to speed up your building. Another point about these builds is that all of them took me between about 10 minutes and I think about half an hour for the longest one to do. So, as it was intended, they're very, very quick and easy to put up, just so you can get cracking with the exploration without having to worry about building if that's what you want to do. If you do prefer to do something a little more ornate and interesting, then you can use this as a foundation for something quick and easy that you can, as I say, easily move, and sort of customize it to your own tastes as well, if you prefer. So the first major problem I ran into with this slightly more complicated build, and there were a couple of them, was that I couldn't get the internal staircase, like the one we've already used just below here, to snap on the upper level. I believe it's possible, but I'm not quite sure how yet. Haven't figured that bit out. So I'm using this separate set here. Ideally, if you want that to stay on the inside, you'd need it to be sort of 3x3 rather than 2x2. But I'd already built it at this stage and I wanted to keep it quick, easy and simple. This does work. Puts a little balcony around the outside, but that also creates certain other issues, which are somewhat besides the point of this video, but probably not such a bad thing to have a look at anyway. We've got the floor in there. This will be our top floor. We'll stick a couple of walls around it and then put a roof on. So go for a bit of an angle here. A half wall and an angled wall on the top. These, for some reason, don't want to snap onto the edges. I think it's probably because they're going across the join of 2 pieces, which is slightly unfortunate. I managed to work around it, but some pieces just didn't want to cooperate, particularly in the middle between the 2 end pieces there, which we'll have a look at in just a moment. We'll get the roof on. If you're feeling like doing something particularly quick and easy, you can just stick a flat rectangular wall on there and then just use these flat roof pieces all over the top. But you know, if somebody throws a grenade up there, at least there's a chance it'll roll off and away from you if the roof is sloped. The theory anyway. You see these doorways I've put in on the edge. I've put the extra bit of floor on the outside so that they'll snap, because they wouldn't do at all. But unfortunately I can't turn them around. I also can't get those railings to go over the gap once I've removed the door either. Just a little unfortunate. So for the purposes of this build, making it quick and easy, I'm just going to leave them open as somewhere you can stand and fire from. However, you could put a doorway in there or put an extra bit of balcony out there if you wanted to as well. Worth noting though, if you use the mesh floors, you can shoot down through them, but anybody who wants to shoot up at you can do the same as well. So we'll slap a couple of railings on. As you can see, these ones don't want to go into the corners either, just to be helpful. So we'll take advantage of it and place the turrets there. I'll have to take the roof off, because with it being so low, it doesn't like to place things underneath. However, works that way around, so no problem. Just going to put a couple down to give you the general idea. That one's stepped in, and that's basically it. So I've changed a couple of the walls around for shuttered windows, so we've got a bit more light up there. Very, very basic, very, very simple. Put your furniture anywhere you like, and with only 4 foundation pieces on it, relatively easy to move. Might be worth considering taking off the staircases though, or the external one anyway, because that could make it a little more fiddly to get it to place. And it's easy enough to replace as well. So, 2 very, very basic things out of the way. We'll look at something that's a little bit more interesting. This one's still very basic, but it's got a little bit more style to it, I think, so I quite like this one. In fact, I think this one's probably my favourite of all of them. So we're going to put a kind of lean-to on this side here, sort of almost a shed type arrangement. Turn that one out for a window, just for a bit of character. We'll get a roof on here. This is 2x3 on the foundation, so again, not too bad to set down. Getting a little bit more awkward because it's getting a little bigger, but should still even be nice and easy to place. We'll stick a couple of fences on there. Unfortunately, because of this bush here, I can't quite snap the staircase on where I wanted it, so we'll work around that. Could possibly be the stone underneath. Hopefully the upcoming bulldozer feature that they'll be adding in a couple of weeks in the update will smooth things out and allow you to much more easily place things like that down. There we go. We basically have a little platform, a little bit of roof to keep the worst of the weather off, somewhere to stash our workbenches. It's dead simple and basic. A lot of people have done various things like this before. It works as a very effective both starting point and a way of moving a camp should you need to. When it comes to the blueprinting system, it's dead easy as well. You just go into the modify setting, I suppose. In my case, it's on PC, it's hitting tab to switch out of the build mode, and then just press, as you can see at the bottom there, the blueprint button. Select everything you want to blueprint and just tell it to do it. Dead easy. So there we go. Very, very simple start. Not much more than a lean-to. We've got a stash box, bed, and all the workbenches. Haven't put a cooking station down, but you could easily do that as well if you wanted. You can add a little bit more just to make it a tiny bit more interesting. See, we can chop and change things a bit. Obviously, bigger footprint, more difficult to place, but suddenly the thing's got an awful lot more character about it. This is the larger of the 2 tents. You can usually find the plans for them at vendors in railway stations. They are quite pricey though, which is true of a lot of the plans actually. There we go. Tiny little bit of a lag issue there. As I couldn't get the railings on once I put the tent on for some weird, bizarre reason that I couldn't figure out, we'll just stick the turrets on the corner. And there we go. Got a little bit of covering fire coming from the side here. Dead simple. You can move the bed into the tent if you want, or set it up whatever way you like. It's a little bit cooler. And yeah, very, very easy. The whole thing took me less than 10 minutes to throw together. There we go. And it works on a bit of a slope there, as we can see as well. So looking at this last one, it combines a couple of ideas I've had. Partly making it easy-ish to move. The footprint's again a little larger. It's the largest of the lot. But still keeping it reasonably small and simple, so hopefully it shouldn't be too bad. long as the ground you can find is at least sort of semi-flat. And this way we're going to have the water purifier, as you can see there, contained within the centre. So you can swap your doorway out. There's my 76 hours passed. You can swap your doorway out for another wall, so basically haven't got an entrance should anybody else come calling. Or you can lock your door if you like. Of course, it doesn't really keep them out, because if somebody really wants to get in, they can smash their way through your walls. Take a while, but they can do it. But it does allow you to keep all your workbenches, all your stash box, and your water purifiers locked up and inside your structure. More of an issue with the water purifier than anything else. You can lock the water purifiers, which kind of solves the problem, unless somebody's got a particularly high level lockpicking skill. That stops people just helping themselves to your water supply. If you remove the door and lock it, there's no way anybody's getting on it. But they might just shoot the thing down in sort of anger at being denied, so something to bear in mind. So we'll get the roof on that. Get some power in place. There's one thing with moving this structure that might be worth considering. It's less of a case of just pick your camp up and move it with the water purifier here. Because things like that and the crops we're going to put in a minute make the blueprinting system, and more specifically the placing side of it, a little bit more finicky. So it's perhaps better done with a build like this if you come back, store your water purifier and your crops, and blueprint the rest of the place, and then move it. Sort of pre-plan it rather than just doing it on the fly. The others are a bit more flexible than that. But this one's a little bit more creative than we've done, so it's a bit of a trade-off in that regard. We're going to stick some walls around the water purifier here. Take these wires off, because even when I put a doorway in, it interrupts the placement of it. There we go. Stick a doorway on there so we've got so much to run the wire through. I put a window on this one, so we can just reach through and help ourselves to the water there. Stick a couple of internal walls on there just for a little bit of character. Close off the tops. One of the strange things, sometimes you can snap a wall in like these ones at the top and you'll be on to the next piece knowing it's going to go in before the game actually catches up with you. It's a bit of a strange sensation to get used to, but it does work. I'll chuck a few rugs down now that I've got the option. Unfortunately, in this corner, the foundations are so low to the ground that the surface of the earth, which sort of acts more like reflected light than anything else, is actually reflecting onto the top of the foundation. It's not so much clipping through as sort of reflecting, which is weird. There we go. We'll slightly glitch these chairs in. Use the build anything, yeah, even without plans glitch. Almost anything, anyway. Chuck a cooking station and some food down outside. There we go. Getting a little bit dark now, but we're nearly there. Some corn and some potatoes in. Just putting down whatever I have available here, just for a little bit of character, and just to show you the general idea. There we go. And these are something I built and blueprinted a while ago. The scaffold and staircase are a single piece, and then I've just put the turret and the punji board across the top of the stairs there. Blueprinted the whole thing, and it just gives you a dead easy external gun emplacement, basically, that nobody can run up and melee too easily because the punji board keeps them at a distance. It's just a dead easy way of putting some defences around your camp, and it doesn't look too bad. You can upgrade it if you like. There we go. Got a little bit of a Mad Hatter's tea party going on over there in this particular location. Little look around at this side. Have a quick look around the inside. So it's a little bit too low in this particular situation for a staircase to snap on the front there, but you can step in easily enough. You can put internal doors on if you like, but in an enclosed space like this, it becomes a little bit tight, really. Work around. Grab some water. There we go, a little bit of a chill out area. Bed in the corner. Not strictly necessary for the survival mechanics, but the place doesn't look complete without one. Open the shutters and let some of that smoke get out. Fortunately, these things are not exactly airtight. There we go. Shut the door and put our feet up for a minute. Nice. Just a little view out the window. So there we go. 4 dead easy builds to just put together very, very nice and easily and quickly. And will allow you to move them reasonably easy as well. So, I hope that was useful for you and interesting. If you did like the video, do hit those buttons for me. It's always very much appreciated. Social media links down below as always. And I will be speaking to you all very, very soon.